So how did I take my e-commerce dropshipping store from £800 to £800,000 in sales over the course of less than 3 years? This is my story so far. In this video, I'm going to take you along with me. I'm going to go back through my story, through the journey to go from that initial investment that I made all the way to the sales that I've generated now. Explain all of the highs and lows so that you know exactly how, if you want to follow my footsteps, how to do that as well. So my name is James Erdley. If you're new to the channel, I run multiple dropshipping businesses and I'm also a coach at Dropship Unlocked, where I help aspiring entrepreneurs to achieve their goals in e-commerce. If you're interested in learning more about the dropshipping business model that I follow, then there's a link in the description to the book that you can purchase from Lewis Smith that explains the whole process and the exact business model that I use. With that said, let's let you know exactly how I started on my journey. It was in early 2021. The pandemic was starting to calm down, although it was definitely still around. I was in a 9-to-5 job and I knew that I had to start working remotely and I really wanted to have an online income stream. Clearly, the wealth that I wanted to generate wasn't going to come from the 9-to-5 job that I was in at the time. And so I was looking around for different options as to what type of online business I should run and create in order to get to not just the wealth that I wanted, but also the lifestyle. I had gone traveling in 2020 and I saw people while I was traveling. I went to New Zealand and I could see people that were there and clearly were there and spoke to people that were there for a long period of time. And the fact that I was only there and could only stay there with my partner for only a few weeks, it just clarified in my mind that I wasn't traveling at all. I was on a holiday, and the only way you can really travel and have all these amazing experiences abroad is if you can earn money while you're also traveling at the same time. So that was the key for me that made me realize that I want to have an income where I can be anywhere in the world and still generate the same amount of money. And so that got me into online business, because I knew that if you've got an online business, then you can generate money from wherever you are. As long as you've got a laptop, you can keep that income stream coming in. So you might be familiar with this stage of my story where you decided you want to make money online, but you don't know which business model to follow. And so I did some research. Things that I came across were like affiliate marketing or Amazon FBA. And then I stumbled upon dropshipping. And dropshipping was the one that really stood out to me the most because it had the lowest upfront investment that I could see straight away. And also, I could see how I could make a quick return on the initial investment that I had. So with dropshipping, it's a business model where you sell physical products to customers in the UK or anywhere actually, but you don't need to buy the stock up front. So you partner with suppliers around the UK or anywhere in the world that can supply products for you. Then you'll generate the sales on your website and you'll send those products from your suppliers directly to your customers. And you only need to place those orders with your suppliers once you've got the orders confirmed from your customers. So it means that you don't need to buy any stock up front. And that for me was huge because I didn't have a big capital investment. I didn't have a lot to start with, but I had some money aside. I had some savings from my 9-to-5 job. And so I knew that I could invest that into starting. And the first investment I made was £800. And that's the reason for the title of this video. And I knew that it was dropshipping because I could get started and create a whole brand, create a whole business with just that £800 investment. So I put that investment into creating a Shopify store and starting to run Facebook ads. And I set myself that budget of £800 on Facebook ads to start to put people onto my website looking for the products that I was trying to sell and see how it goes. Now, unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. From that £800 spend, I didn't generate enough sales and I didn't generate enough profit to make that £800 back. So essentially, I'd failed my first ever venture. I tried to push ads to products that I thought were going to be a winner, but for multiple reasons that I know now, I know that they were never going to be a winner. It's very difficult to get that to work. It's difficult to get products that are so high quality that customers are really happy with. And also it's difficult to find good quality suppliers that can deliver quick enough from those countries to make sure that your customers are happy and that you don't have to deal with damaged deliveries or returns and import tax. There's multiple reasons why that method didn't work for me. So that was the initial £800 loss. And I was sat there with my head in my hands and I didn't know where I could go from here because I had lost that money and I thought I'm a failure with online business. I'd given it a go and I'd lost that money that I'd saved up. But fortunately, I didn't let that define me. And instead, I allowed that to become a lesson for me So instead of that being a waste of money, it's actually the best money I've ever spent, because I learned the lessons that clearly the model that I was trying to follow, the products that I was trying to sell, they weren't the successful products. It wasn't the successful model to follow. And so I just needed to change what I was doing to find a model that really worked. I made sure that it wasn't going to be the end of my dreams after going after online business. I knew that I could just change and make sure I found a model that would then allow me to get to those goals. So this is a critical part in my story. So there was a change in attitude towards the business model that I had. So instead of selling cheap products, so I was selling products that were sold to customers at about £30. And instead of selling those products, I changed my model. I realized that I needed to sell higher ticket products that gave me much higher profit per order for two reasons. The first reason is that with a higher ticket product, you have more profit to play with to spend on advertising to find customers. So the trouble is with a low ticket product, you then have a low amount of money, and granted low ticket customers will cost less to acquire. You still have less room to play with and less margin for error if your marketing campaign doesn't work. So that was my first thinking behind high ticket products. Secondly, I knew that with a high ticket product, I'd get higher profit per order, and therefore I'd need less orders per month to generate the income that was going to sustain me and allow me to leave my 9-to-5 job. So instead of having to generate thousands of sales worth of £20 products, I only needed to sell 10 £2,000 products, and with a 30% margin, so making £600 profit per order, I'd be generating a gross profit of £6,000 before marketing spend. So there's so much more profit there for me to sustain myself, but also to spend on ads to acquire those sales. So that was a big switch for me. Then at that time in 2021, I came across the program that suited me the most. So it was a UK-based program. It's called Dropship Unlocked, and it teaches you how to run the type of business that I wanted to run. So it's working with UK suppliers that are reputable, that have high quality products, and that will help you to fulfill the orders for your customers. And also it teaches you how to sell high ticket products. So it ticked the boxes in terms of being a brand that I could build that was going to be a success. And also it ticked the boxes in terms of selling products that were high enough profit per order to justify me putting in the work in the first place. So I signed up to Dropship Unlocked in March 2021, and I didn't look back. I went through the 6-week training program and quickly built up my business around a niche full of high ticket products. So my average order value now is about £1,150. So for every order I receive, the average price that the customer has paid us is about £1,150. And then we take an average of a 30% gross profit for every sale that we generate. And so you can start to see how the numbers can really add up now that we've scaled up to significant ad spend every day, and we're generating multiple sales per day. And so after doing this for 2 years, there's been challenges along the way and lots of lessons, but now I've generated £800,000 worth of sales, and it's all been through that model. So the biggest lessons that I learned across those 2.5 years to get to the stage I'm at now, there's a few actually that I want to share with you. And the reason I want to share this is because I think when I first started, I'd have loved to have come across a video where no filters, no sales, just somebody standing in front of a camera explaining what they did and the reasons why they took those choices, and then what they've learned after going through that experience. So hopefully for you on the other side of the camera, you're able to take those lessons and speed up the process. So instead of you taking 2.5 years for you, you'll be able to implement the lessons that I have learned, and instead you can do that in 2.5 months. So the first lesson, and this is the biggest lesson that I learned from that initial failure with the Facebook ads and the cheap products, was not to do it alone. The biggest problem and the biggest mistake I made was that I thought I could figure it all out by myself, with no team around me, with no real strategy that I could ask somebody about, and with no mentorship or guidance. And I believe that to be the main reasons why I failed. Because when things go wrong, and if you're not getting the return on ads that you need to get, there's nobody to turn to and ask how to improve. And so you're left on your own. You've got no support. You don't know the answers because you've not done it before. And so there's nowhere for you to turn. So that was the biggest lesson. So don't go it alone. The second biggest lesson that I learned is that you don't need to know it all. In fact, if you've got no experience to start with, it's actually a great place to start, because you can just be like a sponge and absorb all the information that you get from YouTube or training programs, and you've got no biases towards anything from the start. So in fact, having no experience is no problem. You just need to be open to picking up the lessons and the experience from others. Another lesson is confidence. So something that was lacking when I first started was a confidence that I could generate these sales, make the business profitable, and really get the business off the ground. And it's only now that I've started other companies, the difference between getting started more quickly and taking a while and taking a while to get off your feet and start a business is just the confidence to get started in the first place. So now when I start another dropshipping store, we're so much quicker to make the right decisions because we've got the confidence that we've seen the same sort of patterns in the past, and we're then able to be more confident to go for it and essentially follow the advice that we've got around us. So if I could go back to myself when I first started, I'd tell myself to be confident, to follow the advice that I had in the training program, and absolutely go for it and give it 100% from the very start. The final lesson that I swear by, and I work towards this every day, is just making 1% consistent progress every day. So day to day, throughout this journey, feels like your progress is a little slow. You look back in time and you can't see a huge dramatic jump up in sales over the course of a week. What tends to happen is it creeps up on you, and you can only really appreciate how much progress you've made after a few weeks have gone by, then after a few months have gone by. And for me, it took a couple of years before I could really start to look back and see how much progress had been made. And the only way I could make that progress on a day-to-day basis, just add 1% to your business, whether that's signing a new supplier, whether it's adding new products or optimizing your ad campaign, doing one thing every day to improve, and then those improvements will compound on each other so that after a few years, after multiple months, you can look back on the progress you've made and really reflect on how much success you've had. But it needs to be patient. I think in the day-to-day, it's hard to see the overall picture, but if you remind yourself of the little wins that you're having every day, so you can point at something that you've done that day, that will give you the momentum to keep pushing on, keep getting up the next day, keep working hard to improve. So celebrate each of the little wins that you come across along the way, and eventually those wins will compound until you've got a big, thriving business. So that's my story, that's my journey so far from the initial lessons to where I'm at today with multiple businesses. And as I mentioned, I'm also a coach inside Dropship Unlocked. If you're interested in the Dropship Unlocked program, I recommend the easiest place to start is actually just by reading Lewis's book, The Home Turf Advantage. You can get a digital copy if you go to the link in the description. Have a read through of that book, and it explains everything step by step in detail how you can actually go through this process. And it's very easy for everyone to go ahead and pick up a copy of that book for the price of 2 cups of coffee, and you can really learn about how to create and build a business for yourself. So have a look at that in the description. Hopefully this has been helpful for you to understand the journey that I've been on, and looking forward to sharing more about my journey in more videos on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.